Adam, hit us with that intro, baby. Hit us
It's
with
been
that
a
intro,
minute.
Adam.
It's been a minute. Go,
Let's
Adam.
go. What are we doing? Go.
What's up, homies? Welcome back to another episode of the CzechXicans podcast. Hope you're all having a fantabulous Thursday. I don't know
It's
what
not
day it is
Wednesday
anymore.
today. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
could be any day of the week as far as I'm concerned.
hmm
How's everybody
hmm
doing? Nice
I
to see
think we're
you all
doing.
here.
I think we're doing okay. Just I want to make sure that we're going live and that we're not.
Oh, you're live.
We're live. Okay, good, good, good.
It looks
I'm
and sounds great.
okay. Oh, you're listening
Well,
to it.
this
Okay,
happened last
fantastic.
time. This
hmm
happened. Okay, great. Okay, this happened last time. Yeah, now we are live. But on my wonderful YouTube, I have a stupid app going right now. Or sorry, an ad going right now.
hmm
So I don't know how.
Oh,
Are we to me live? Perfect. And now we can. Yeah, people got a Pete's Hut commercial. So I think we're in though.
A
So
peace hut.
we might
Peace
need
Hut.
another an introduction here, Adam. If you want to
No.
rip into another one.
Yeah, give us a really good one, Adam.
You want a non-ad version of my intro again
Yeah,
for the
for
ad
sure,
people?
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Fuck you. What is up, homies? Welcome back to another episode of the
There
CzechXicans
you go.
podcast. We're live
That's what I'm
today. Is
looking for.
Thursday, not Wednesday. A little bit
That's
of a different
what
bat time, different
I'm
bat
talking
channel,
about.
but happy to be here with everybody. Hope you're all having a
Yeah,
fantastic day.
yeah.
I'm not driving the boat today. Augustine is. So if it all goes to shit,
It's my
take
fault,
it out on
baby.
Hector.
That what's that?
Yeah.
That Tom Hanks movie gif. I'm the captain now. I'm
Oh
the
yeah,
captain.
Yeah,
Captain
that.
Phillips.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm the
Philip.
captain now.
I'm the captain now.
I'm the captain.
Welcome back, buddy. You've been gone for a minute. We still haven't even had a chance to talk about your vacation. So maybe we
We
could
haven't
talk
talked
about
about
it
anything.
live
We
on
haven't
the
talked about
stream.
X-Men. We
Yeah.
haven't talked about
Mhm.
We haven't talked about
nothing.
nothing
In
at
case
all.
people don't know and they're tuning in right now and they're unaware, Augustine and I watched the last episode of X-Men 97, right? That's on YouTube. That's out there. We did it, baby. But Adam was not all the way left out. He watched it on his own, recorded his own solo reaction,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to live forever on our Patreon. So if you're watching this and you're like, I didn't get to see Adam react to the crazy
You can,
cliffhanger
baby.
ending,
It's there.
you can.
It's there.
You can. So, and the Patreon is also a really, really great way to support us and keeps us going. And we're very excited. And we've been talking about a lot of stuff that we want to do, including getting back to doing cooking special number 2, cooking special number 3 with you guys, and as well as we
Oh yeah, I
want to
forgot
try and
about
get
that.
yeah. Don't let
We
us
still
slip
need
through
to
the
go,
cracks,
Adam.
baby. But also we've been talking about the plan of having our movie reactions maybe shift to just a Patreon exclusive type of a club.
Yep,
Where
yep.
YouTube gets the TV shows, YouTube gets that kind of stuff. So this is all conversations we've been having. It may or may not go down that way, but I'm just saying the Patreon is a great after party. It's a great way to support what we do.
Yes.
But now we can in person ask Adam, and the chat can ask him any questions you've got. What did you think of that last episode? What did you think of the very end cliffhanger ending?
Woof.
It sucked.
It sucked bad.
No,
Worst thing I've
it
ever
was
seen.
amazing. Well, first of all, I'm probably going to dive a little bit into spoilers. So if anyone here has not seen the finale of X-Men
Yeah.
97, first of all, why are you here?
Yeah.
Why'd you click on this
Right.
video? You saw the
Yeah.
title. You were
Mhm.
warned.
Yeah, full spoilers.
No, it was amazing. I mean, I feel like up to this point, I knew that whatever they're going to do in the finale, I would fully trust the creative team to do something really, really special and really, really cool. And the writing is so exceptional in every episode, but I think in this final episode, especially between characters like Jean, Cyclops, and Nathan Cable, and between Xavier and Magneto, there's so many great little nuggets, little moments. And I got choked up when Cyclops tells Nathan that he didn't want to make the same mistake that his father did,
Yeah.
and never saying goodbye.
know.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
I know.
what? Why am I so
Yeah.
emotionally compromised? It was good. It was really good. I was really, really impressed. And all the teases that they left out, and of course, splitting the team up and putting them in different places. And then, we have to kind of like go on the journey and figure out what's going to happen with them next. And it was great, to see some characters show up. Oh my God. Some of those cameos were like, if at this point they don't announce that they're doing an entire continuation of the 90s animated series, all of them,
Yeah.
and doing ones that they've never done before, then like now's the time. Just
Yeah.
make
Yeah.
Charlie
Yeah.
Cox Daredevil in the new
Yeah.
continuation or new version of the Daredevil animated series.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
it was really cool. Yeah, Cloak and Dagger were in there. I just loved it so much, and storytelling wise it's cool. And something I mentioned in my like post discussion was I so appreciate how a character like Wolverine in particular, who became such like the attention whore, and not by his own doing, by everybody else's doing,
Hey, shut
the
your mouth.
audience and the
Shut your
creators.
filthy mouth, Adam.
It's really like
Mhm.
refreshing for them to have that awareness of like, listen, Wolverine is badass, he's awesome, he's amazing, he's all these
Mhm.
things, he's all these adjectives.
Mhm. Mhm.
We've done a lot of that has kind of been done. Now
Mhm.
let's let him breathe a little bit and let's put the
Mhm.
focus on characters who didn't really get that attention. Jean Grey, Cyclops, Jubilee, you know, like all these amazing characters who are equally as
Mhm.
important to the X-Men story. Man, they did some cool stuff with them. Like Rogue, she's so powerful in this
Yeah. Oh,
show. She
yeah.
has such
Yeah.
incredible
Yeah.
moments of strength and emotion that I love so much. So, and
Mhm.
even just diving further into Magneto and Professor Xavier's relationship and friendship and brotherhood and breaking
Yeah.
that apart and putting it back together and then breaking it apart again. It's
Mhm.
so layered, it's so multifaceted. I really, really just appreciate the swings that they took with this show and executing them. You know, a lot of times, not just Marvel, but DC, Star Wars, not even IPs, just like anything that's also original that could be
Mhm.
a horror or an action. They take big swings and sometimes they land and sometimes they don't. So it was really cool to see that this movie or this show, this first season, just like everything that they did literally worked for me, like no
Mhm.
notes pretty
Yeah.
much. So
Yeah.
I loved it.
Do you agree, Adam, with I mean, this is fairly recent now that it's been announced, but that this show is rated on Rotten Tomatoes as the best thing Marvel's ever done, the highest rated thing that they've ever done. Would you agree
Like
with that rating?
ever
Yeah.
between from
Yeah.
Iron Man all the way to
Yeah.
now?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, also,
Right?
we should, you know,
Yeah,
that all that means too is that there's 100% of however many people reviewed it and wrote a
right.
review, and that was
Mhm.
logged into Rotten
There could
Tomatoes.
be 6
I
people that could have
know
reviewed it positively.
exactly. I
That's
know that
true.
a show
That's
like
true.
X-Men 97, as high profile as it is going to be seen and reviewed by less critics than like the
Yeah,
first Iron Man movie or
Right,
Avengers
right.
Endgame.
exactly.
So
Absolutely.
you have to
Exactly.
take that percentage as, you know, with that grain of salt and understanding that caveat.
Mm.
But still, that's still such a huge accomplishment for a TV
Mhm.
show done by
Yeah.
Marvel Studios, right? And
Mhm.
technically their first TV show that they produced was
Mhm.
WandaVision. So only a few
Yeah.
years back, but in terms of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, in terms of that whole franchise, the whole brand, it's a higher rated TV show than things like Daredevil or Agents of
Mhm.
Shield or,
Mhm.
you know, whatever you would consider to be their best TV show.
Mhm.
That's still
Right.
quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
So, yeah, again, going back to you, Adam, how do you feel about that?
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's amazing. Well, and I think also when we know this more better than a lot of other people, and our people in our audience know this too, people have such a weird reaction to animated stuff,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Oh, Marvel's making
Yep.
an animated
Yep.
series. It's probably going to be dumb. It's probably going to be for kids, and it's probably going to be full of jokes. And
Yeah.
even with What If, like that was not the case. What If was
Right.
also just a continuation of what Marvel had been doing in their movies, but just shifting those tones into an animated medium, which worked great. I thought I really
Mhm.
liked season 1 and season 2 of What If. And I think X-Men 97 did the same thing. I think it even took the tone, a quote unquote more serious tone, even a step further in X-Men 97. I mean, it is a little bit more adult. And I think part of that is also because they're aware that the folks from 1992 to 1996 are now our age and older. They're 30 plus. So they want to make it accessible for that audience, but also they don't want to leave youngsters behind either. So
Mhm.
it's a really nice entry point for them as well. So I'm not too surprised. I feel like everything that I've seen people talking about, it's been very positive. And I think the thing that I was mentioning earlier is the show took swings, and you know, however the lightning in a bottle aligned for them, it like really did pay off. They did
Mhm.
some awesome
Mhm.
stuff. You
Yeah.
know, like
Mhm.
they killed off Gambit, and I was no one I don't think was expecting that
Yeah.
shit to happen.
And they
Yeah.
So the
earned
fact
it
that they
too.
do those
They
things,
earned
yeah,
that.
and they earned
Yeah.
it.
They
So
earned it.
I think
Mhm.
it's really I think it's impressive. It's a little bit of a surprise because it is animation and
Mhm.
not for
Mhm.
us, but I mean, I think for general audiences, they have this weird reaction to that kind of stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
But I'm just happy that the project turned out as well as it did, not just for Marvel Studios, but like for us as fans who
Yo, yeah.
were never necessarily thinking about wanting a continuation of X-Men 97, but we ended up getting one. And it felt like such a satisfactory wait, even though we never really waited because we never knew that it would ever
Mhm.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. In the chat, super chats. Ashley with Republic credits, 125 Filipino pesos, says, covering for Senator just in case. Hey, homies, keeping up with the tradish. Also, welcome back, Stream Lord Adam. So
Mhm,
thank you
welcome
so
back,
much,
buddy.
Ashley. And we've also got a great comment
Thank
here
you.
from the Double Take with a $1.99 super chat. Do you
Mhm.
guys have any lingering X-Men questions? I mean,
I don't, but
I
I
have a
wanna add I
Ooh.
wanna add to that one.
go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
Mhm.
wanna be just because, Hector, you and I kind of know what's coming. Kind of. We have
Uh, uh,
very strong clues as to what's coming. Adam, did anything in that finale lead you to know, or do you know anything about, like, Apocalypse showing up and doing
Oh,
things
like En
and
Sabanur? Yeah.
Right, right,
So
right.
yeah, so I mean, very vaguely, but I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of it came from what we kind of learned about Apocalypse in X-Men the animated series,
Okay,
a few
okay.
comics I picked up
mhm,
here and there, and then X-Men
mhm,
Apocalypse the movie did
mhm,
its
Ah,
best
okay,
to like give
okay.
us some backstory of En
Mhm,
Sabanur. So yeah, like from that perspective, I know where they're going, but how
mhm,
what storylines they're gonna pull from
mhm, mhm,
and
mhm.
merge it into X-Men 98, or if that's what
mhm,
it's going to be called, I have
Yeah,
no clue. So
yeah,
it's kind of fun.
mhm.
I think that's kind of the fun part for me
yeah.
is as much as I love that animated series, I don't know the comics incredibly well. So I'm kind
Mhm.
of going into
Sure.
it knowing I feel like just enough to navigate my way through, but I feel like I'll be plenty surprised when
Yeah.
I
the new season
I love
starts.
how I think this is true with like uniquely X-Men and Batman. And I think I've said this before,
Hmm.
but I love how I think I have a pretty good knowledge of Marvel comics. I think I have a pretty good knowledge of DC comics. But there are people who have an encyclopedic, like
Mhm.
true
Yeah,
blue,
yeah.
they know every single thing about just X-Men comics.
Mhm.
Oh
Or on the
yeah.
Yeah.
DC side, just Batman. Like they've read
Mhm.
every
Yeah. Yeah.
Batman comic since they were alive and before. And the same with
Yeah.
the
Hmm.
people coming out of the woodwork and being so specific and so into the details with X-Men storylines. They can
Mhm.
recall this, they can recall that. They know exactly what this show is pulling from or is hinting towards. And I'm like, me and Augustine, I feel like are in the same boat where it's like, dang, like we know like the details of like how Onslaught sort of comes about or what Apocalypse's deal was. But there are people that are like, as soon as Gambit died, they're like, well, he's going to come back as Apocalypse's Horseman Death. And that comes from this issue when this happened and he looked like this. And I'm
Mhm.
like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
crazy because I've never seen this amount of comic book nerdiness with a larger general. Because there are people that are not Marvel fans,
Yeah.
they're just X-Men fans. There are people that are
Mhm.
not DC fans, they're just Batman fans. We call those
Yeah.
people Zack Snyder and Matt Reeves. They're just Batman fans. But it's
They're
but
not
it's
James
like
Gunn. They're Zack Snyder or Matt
Yeah.
Reeves.
right.
Yeah, that's
But
it.
it's a really cool thing to see people that excited. So I mean
That's a
in
really
terms
good
of like
point.
yeah, because it's the power of those 2 brands, right? Shout
Hmm.
out to Brad in the chat who's watching from New Zealand. Also a homie who, like, was telling me in person when I got to visit New Zealand how Batman and Tim Burton's Batman, 1989, that was his entry
Mhm.
point, and that, like, the world of comics may still remain kind of new to him, but he
Hmm.
knows that guy, you know?
Mhm.
And I
Yeah,
Right,
think
yeah,
right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
if I were anything from Marvel or DC, I'm probably also maybe Batman familiar and definitely Spider-Man. Spidey's my guy. Like those
Mhm. Yeah.
comics I'm very much more familiar with. But when Augustine and I were talking about this last week, like how this episode ended, where the characters are, we didn't know where like Wolverine and I think Morph were because I don't think they showed up. But
Mhm.
then since then, I think the showrunner or other people have kind of confirmed, like, yes, they're Wolverine and Morph are in the past of ancient
A
Egypt.
timeline. Did they
Right.
even
They're like
confirm the
they
past? Did they
yes,
just
they
say a
said
timeline?
specifically with the other characters like Rogue
Okay.
and Magneto and
Okay.
everyone who were
Okay, cool.
in
The past
Apocalypse's time.
within
Whereas
Sabanur.
I think it's just Cyclops and Jean in the far future that are gonna
Mm,
be
okay.
with young Abel. I think.
Yeah.
I think that's how the team was split. But
Okay.
like people have been speculating. I'm so excited because it's like, yeah, dude, how was Bishop at the beginning of this season, took the baby, was lost in the time stream. Somebody made a joke last week about how Bishop thought that the baby was baby Aquaman and just chucked his ass, like, just got rid of
Out of
Nathan
the stream?
somehow
Yeah.
out of the time stream and, like, like that meme of that woman just, like,
Yeah, chucking the
whoop,
baby? Yeah.
chucking the baby. But then, like, Bishop shows up at the end, and he goes, "They're
Mhm.
lost in the time stream. We have to go find them." And it's the really exciting thing of, like, Forge. Plus, I love Forge, and he had such a great role in this story, in this season. He and Bishop, with I think Beast and Jubilee and Sunspot, are like the remaining X-Men that stayed in the present. Are
Mhm.
they gonna build out the team? Are we gonna get Colossus? Are
Yeah.
we gonna get, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, all the characters that are in the world, but they're not
The
officially
new
X-Men.
X-Men.
Yeah.
Right. Are we looping them in whilst Bishop is gonna try and find the X-Men that
The
are
OG
lost in
team.
time?
Mhm. Yeah.
So exciting, dude. So
Yeah.
exciting. Okay, we have some other super chats I gotta get through because 'cause they're great. Gurinder
Mhm.
Johal, 9.99 super chat. On Tuesday night, after work and cooking dinner, it hit me no more X-Men 97. I almost fell to my knees. This show has made me want to get into comics more than any project, especially X-Men stuff. And Sable King, 4.99 super chat. Are you guys worried, Ed, about are you guys worried about the high
I'm
bar
worried, dude, for sure.
this show's set for the live action X-Men movie? I think this is a great conversation to have. I
Yeah.
saw a friend of ours, Dan Murrell, post a similar video today, I think, of like, what's the future? What's next for the X-Men and these characters, like, in Marvel's hands? And I think he was talking about how Deadpool and Wolverine is coming out, and we don't know what that's gonna do or say for the
Mhm.
X-Men as a brand. But then post Deadpool and Wolverine, what's happening? We're hearing that an X-Men movie just got a writer hired who wrote the most recent Hunger Games,
Mhm.
which, side note, gives me a lot of hope. I didn't see it. I heard it was well received, like, people
Yeah, I
liked
heard it
it,
was great, yeah.
but it gives me hope because Hunger Games is like a young person centric thing.
I
Like,
see.
the main players, the characters in that world are young people sort of
Mhm.
standing up to the government and to a fascistic world. And it gives me
Mhm.
hope that this new X-Men from Marvel Studios is going to be about young people standing, as opposed to, like, here's Storm, she's played by a 40-year-old actor. Here's Wolverine, he's played by a 40-year-old actor. Here, all of those characters I love. It's like, yeah, but I want to see the X-Men have that energy of younger generations showing us what to do. But we're hearing that this is starting to get going. Are we going to see
Mhm.
this after after Avengers Secret Wars? What do you guys think is going to be the sort of future of X-Men, and will X-Men 97 impact it in a real serious way?
Well,
Yeah.
first thing, and I don't remember if you mentioned this. I don't know if this is what you were talking about, but the writer of the Hunger Games movie wrote the prequel, not one of the
Yeah.
4 original ones that came out.
No,
Okay.
that's what I'm
Right,
saying.
right,
The Hunger
right.
Games, The Ballad
Okay.
of Mockingbird and Jay, and sequel singing,
Whatever that
whatever
is,
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
called.
that
That
one.
prequel that
Mhm.
just came out with
Yeah.
Rachel Zegler. Yeah, 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 that.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't see it either. I heard mixed things about it, but, like, whatever, like, it's Hunger Games is not I'm not the target
It's not your
demographic for
jam.
that.
It's not your
Yeah, it's
jam.
not
Right.
my jam, so,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, I agree though. I do think that having a writer who has at least most recently written something that is primarily deals with young characters, I think is the way to go. And maybe
Right.
it does kind of hint that they will mostly be focusing on the X-Men when they're younger, as opposed to the movies that already picked up when they were in their late 20s, early 30s, if not older,
Mhm.
and going forward from there. Plus, I do think, I think it is going to be a little bit of an uphill battle because that people are, and I may be guilty of this too. I'm going to go into that movie and I'm going to go, it's going to end, and I'm going to go, was X-Men 97 better? Which is already unfair
Yeah, yeah.
because
It
it's
is.
it's its own thing. It's based on different comic book runs. It's a continuation of something from the 90s, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You got to let the movies be the movies. Now, of course,
Yeah.
that does mean that you should hope for and want really good character arcs, really good story arcs. Let
Mhm.
it be open ended for something really, really cool. Let it build out a new section of that universe that has been totally untapped, and we've seen nothing from pretty much. They've mentioned mutants a few times, but nothing really concrete.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it, obviously, no matter what. And I do have a lot of faith that they are very aware of how important X-Men is, not just to Marvel Studios, but
Yeah.
to audiences. Like,
Right.
I feel like it's the thing that if you ask if you were to ask 10 Marvel comic book or Marvel comic fans, the top 5 is gonna be a Spider-Man, a Wolverine, and probably some other X-Men character.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
X-Men are so important as a brand, which I hate saying that too, but they are a brand of Marvel, and I feel like they have the most eyes on them, kind of how Batman at DC has a lot of
You're
eyes
right.
on him as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So
for
it is
sure.
very important
yeah,
for them to get that right and to do something ambitious.
yeah.
You bring up a good point, Adam, because I like to think of myself as somebody who gives movies a chance, like in as an individual kind of entity, right? Whether it's a sequel, whether it's part of a bigger franchise, whatever. And I recently got to see Furiosa, and I'm not going to spoil. I'm not going to say anything about the movie, but at the end of the movie, I was like, "Was this better than Fury Road?" Like that was the
Mm,
first
mm,
question that came to
I know.
mind, right?
Adam is shaking his head
Hey, I'm not
silently
saying nothing.
saying
I'm not
no,
saying nothing. I'm
saying
not saying
no.
nothing because
Oh,
I don't know if I'm still on
hey, you heard it
NDA
here
or
first,
whatever.
folks. Augustine and Adam hated
We
Furiosa.
hate.
They don't like it
No,
when
I'm
women
not
lead
saying
movies. No, I'm
nothing.
kidding. No, no, I'm kidding. I'm
But
kidding. I'm
no,
kidding.
what I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, I try to review everything on its own. And
Yeah,
I'm not that I'm scared for the live action X-Men, but I think first instinct is
guys,
going to be to act that way or to think about that, which
guys,
sucks.
it's inevitable. It's going to
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Look at how the shitty internet has responded to because of the strikes, because of the delays in projects. Sony was
Hmm.
like, "We're going to release the Spider-Man movies once a week, in the summer of this year." The internet was going to back to watch the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies and then
Hmm.
filming pieces of the movie and going, "This movie shits all over Tom Holland's," and you're just like, "You're the worst. You learned no lessons from when Tobey Maguire Spider-Man is
Mhm.
going, 'Can we just pump the brakes a second? Can you just admit you're amazing?' Talking to Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Mhm,
You've learned
mhm.
nothing. You don't deserve these characters, but
Yeah.
this comparison is going to happen, and it is, like Adam said, an unfair one, and I think the only fair comparison to make is, will a new X-Men movie be as good or better than the first season of X-Men from 1992? And
Right,
even that's an unfair comparison, but it's
right.
like, that's really what we're working with because that
Mhm.
was their
Yeah,
first shot.
yeah.
Like when people dissed Spider-Man Homecoming and they were like, this Peter Parker doesn't go through enough torture and pathos. And you're going, this is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. This is the first Harry
Mhm.
Potter movie. You want Harry Potter 8. You want Harry Potter year 7. That doesn't happen. Like he's a kid.
Mhm, mhm,
His first comic book in Amazing Fantasy 15 was not the death of Gwen Stacy. That took
mhm.
years to
Yeah.
get to. But a lot of times comic book fans lack imagination. So there will be inevitable comparisons made. And Adam, you were saying earlier too about like how weird people are with animation. I wanted to bring this up. As much as people are loving X-Men 97, I'm calling it right now. Give it a few weeks, give it a few months. You will go on the internet and you will see people talking about X-Men 97 and they're going to go, "Yeah, it wasn't that great." Like
Mhm.
they move the goalposts,
That's just
right?
how it
Look at
goes.
how
Yeah,
that's just
yeah,
how it goes.
yeah.
People were if there are valid criticisms absolutely for the show, for example, What If? But I saw
Mhm,
people dunking on What If only to prop up X-Men 97 and going, this blows it out of the water. X-Men 97 is
mhm,
so much better. They totally whiffed it with What If. What If is such a joke. And then I see people going, well, hang on. That one episode with the character Coyote was a really great
mhm.
episode of What If. Don't just like dismiss that. And then
Yeah.
the original person goes, oh, I didn't watch season 2. Okay. Then in the most polite way
Then shut the
possible,
fuck up.
shut the fuck up. Shut your butt. It's just but that's how these things go. So there
Yeah,
will be people that
yeah.
go, "Oh,
Yeah,
X-Men 97 is way better than this one." But like who cares? It's going to happen. The point
right.
is to not try and I hope that the lessons learned from this that Marvel Studios are going to take is not to pivot whatever initial plans they had for their X-Men to just try to match
Mhm,
X-Men 97. Let X-Men
Right.
97 be its own
Be its
project.
own
mhm,
thing.
As we were talking about, we would love to see a continuation of Spider-Man 98. But
mhm,
Marvel Animation already has another Spider-Man animated project in the
Mm,
works that
mhm.
I'm
yeah.
incredibly excited about and no one is thinking about right now because it's not out yet. There's no promotional material, there's no trailers, there's no
Literally
nothing.
nothing.
Mhm.
When that show comes out, people are going to start talking about it. People are going to say, we really like this, or they're going to trash talk it, whatever the thing is. But like, if Spider-Man 98 ever happens, I want it to be different than Spider-Man Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And I've
Mhm.
seen even the internet going, here's proof that Marvel Studios doesn't know what we want. They're not greenlighting Spider-Man 98. Instead, we're getting this other thing. And I'm like, you haven't seen it. And this is the exact same attitude people had about X-Men 97 before X-Men 97 came out. People were on the internet going, why did they greenlight this? This is just nostalgia. This show's going to suck. Why are we getting this instead of focusing on
Totally.
like a new
The
version of the
X-Men in the
X-Men with
MCU.
and then the show comes out and it just has great stories and people are loving it and you want to go,
Yeah.
yeah, that wasn't what some people said a few months ago. So it's like
Right.
we all lack imagination. We all have to shut
Yeah.
up, be patient, let this stuff happen as it happens. But even then,
Right.
I can still be excited and want them to do Spider-Man 98,
Yeah.
but I want to see what else they got. It can't
Right.
all be. It's like when James Gunn was asked about this. Hey, can you do Justice League Unlimited again? And he had a very diplomatic answer. I'd love to see a continuation of Justice League Unlimited, even if we don't have Kevin Conroy with us anymore, which I think is a big part of it. He said, the thing that makes X-Men 97 great is that it's not chasing trends. It's doing its own thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's carving out
Right.
its own identity. So he goes, I think we're just going to keep doing that, carving out our own identity. And like,
Yeah.
I'd love to see Justice League, but he's right. Let him
Totally.
cook. That's the right attitude
Yeah.
to take.
Yeah.
So
Well, and especially when it comes to DC, like they've truly never had an opportunity to really cement themselves as a live action cinematic universe. It
exactly.
started out trying to be one, and it's
Yeah.
been all over the place. So now they're redoing it. So I would say the same thing. I would say focus on what you're doing, focus on figuring out your current cinematic universe that is on film, TV, and animation and video games. And then maybe in 5-10 years, if you're like, you know what, maybe now we'll do a continuation of Justice League Unlimited. Great. And if you never
Yeah.
do it, also fine.
That's fine too.
It's fine.
We don't need to
Some
have
super
everything
chats
all at
here.
once. Yeah. Hit him with the super chats, Hector.
Here's a quick one. DJ Oscart J, $5 super chat. I made it. Can you invite Abby to talk about her experience with X-Men 97, how her casting went, etc.? See you at Comic-Con with some tacos. I think that'd be a great idea to invite Abby on. I will just say that she loved being a part of it, and she is hoping to be able to come back and do more, even with the small
Yeah.
role Spiral. They made a Funko Pop of her character, which is so crazy.
That's true. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's like she was so surprised by that. Anyway, super chat
Wait,
before that.
You missed Easy Rider. Yeah.
I know. Easy Rider. This is going to be to you, Adam. We're going to take a little sidebar here. Hey, homies. Love to have you back, Adam. These guys were kind of rough last week. LMAO, JK, love y'all. What cruise did you take? How was it? I've been thinking about going on an Alaskan cruise since I came back from Thailand. Adam.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I had
Interesting.
so just to give some context, I'd never been on a cruise before in my life, and I'd never been to Alaska in my life either. And I honestly, going into it, I was telling my girlfriend, I was telling her last year when we started talking about it, I was a little hesitant because I didn't know if 1 week on a boat was going to keep me entertained. Like the fact that you're going to be on a boat, you can't get off. I was like, am I going to
In the
go
middle of
stir
the
crazy? Am I going to
ocean.
go mad?
Yeah.
Yeah, in the middle of the ocean. Like I didn't know, but I will say it was probably one of the funnest experiences I've done. It was
Interesting.
really,
Oh,
really fun.
okay.
The ship is so huge. First of all, they have a gym, they have multiple pools, they have jacuzzis, they have a theater where they do like live performances, they have a nightclub, they have a casino, they have a martini bar. At least the one that we did Celebrity Edge. It was really, really cool.
Did you say, did they have a movie theater? Did they have a movie theater?
Not a movie theater, but they did have like a performance theater where they did they had like live performances, and they had musicians and singers do live performances. It was really cool. But I do know that if you go on, I think it's Disney cruises, they do have a theater and they play their movies.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's pretty cool. Oh,
That's pretty
but
rad.
actually, so they didn't have a theater, but they did have an outdoor screen that they built where you could watch movies. And I think they did Wonka, Indiana Jones, Disney Nature, and Color Purple. But the thing is like when you're going to Alaska this time of year, it's a little too cold and it's rainy, so it didn't get that much usage.
Yeah.
But the inside of the ship was really cool. Like we went to the martini bar every night, we did dinner, we did one really cool specialty dining experience called Le Petit. And actually, I think you guys would love this because it's animated and they have projectors installed in the ceiling. and they basically project the story of how the chef Le Petit makes the dish, and it's
That's
all
pretty rad.
animated. It's very like
Yeah.
Pixar. Well,
Yeah.
I would say it's kind of
What?
has like a little bit of like a Ratatouille feel,
Uh-huh.
but it's very French. I loved it. It was really cool. And so you have the plate on the table. The character is like being projected, let's say in on a farm, and he's like pulling potatoes out of the floor, or he's like getting vegetables, and then he's prepping them, and he's
Mhm.
tossing them on your plate, and then the servers come to actually bring you the meal, and then you eat it.
That's
It's
rad. That's really
really,
cool.
really
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah.
loved it
That
so much.
sounds
We
crazy.
ended up doing it twice because it was so
Wow.
Yeah.
good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, and so all the food was included except for that specialty dining. We did end up getting the drink package, which actually we went back and forth up until like a week before we left.
Mhm.
Because we thought, maybe it's not gonna be worth it. But then it was 50%, it was on a 50% sale. So we got
Mhm.
it, and it includes bottled drinks, including bottled water, coffees, alcoholic beverages. So it ended up being really, really worth it because you end up
Mhm.
basically spending no money on the ship. So the ship experience was great. I was really worried about it. I thought I was going to go stir crazy. Not at all. There's so much
Mhm.
to do. And even if you just want to stay in your room and do literally nothing and look out the balcony window that opens,
Mhm.
it's such a nice view.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I
then
bet.
yeah, so we went from Vancouver, we were at sea for one day, then we were in Juneau. Juneau was beautiful. It was really busy because it is cruise season, but
Mhm.
we had some amazing seafood, really, really cool. So you
Oh,
dock and then you have a certain amount of hours. I think in Juneau we had about like 6, 7 hours.
Yeah.
So we went out in the town, we did some shopping and had some lunch. It was beautiful. I loved it. Then we were at sea, and the next day we're in Skagway, which was like a
mm,
really small town, really,
Mhm.
really small, but very had like very old buildings and architecture, had really, really good food as well. And we did that walk in like an hour and a half, 2 hours. Like
Mhm.
it's pretty short, but there's something to see. Like every store is something, whether it's a coffee shop or there was like a cool
sure.
hotel or whatever. There's so much stuff to just look at. So that
Mhm.
was really, really, really fun. And then we went to Dawes Glacier, which we didn't get to go super close to the glacier. I'd say we were
Mhm.
maybe like 200, 150 to 200 yards from the glacier, but it was still really cool to experience and see like icebergs, like going by icebergs. I was like, oh shit, we better not sink in this fucking boat. But it's totally safe. Actually, the ship that I went on,
Uh-huh.
I think it's only 6 years old.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's really built incredibly well. And when you would look to the back of the ship, you could see the ship pivoting pretty quickly trying to get around icebergs, and they had like a whole
Oh, wow.
dedicated group of
Whoa.
pilots to pilot
Oh,
the ship
man.
through them. So it was really cool.
So there
So
wasn't just an old-timey dude up on the top of the
no,
boat going like this, "Hey,
no,
guys, I see one on the
Bernard
left."
Hill,
Boy,
Yeah.
Captain!
iceberg.
Oh, he's
No,
back. Yeah.
the captain was actually really cool. He was from Greece,
Mhm.
Mm,
and we got to see him in the theater. He did it like some intros and stuff, but it
Mhm.
was a really cool crew. Everyone was so nice and helpful, and
Who was
yeah, it was a
driving
great
while he
experience.
was lollygagging in the theater, huh? That's
Yeah, right?
dangerous.
It was autopilot.
yeah,
We did
exactly.
I don't think we saw dolphins, but we did see like a whale.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Whoa.
That's
it was
cool.
really, really cool. I would totally do it again. Like honestly, the
Awesome.
maybe the day before or 2 days before we docked in Seattle, we were, like,
Mhm.
on the phone looking at, like, what other destinations do they have? The whole Scandinavian
Oh,
thing with, like,
Wow, okay.
Oslo, Norway, and Sweden,
whoa.
Interesting.
and I would definitely do it again. It was
Yeah,
really, really fun. So, yeah, if
that's cool.
you've been on the fence
Awesome.
about it and you're not sure, definitely look into it.
Mhm.
Celebrity is, in my opinion, like, is my first time. I thought it was really, really nice, and
Mhm.
I would say, like, 98% of it was very easy to get on and off the ship when you first,
Right.
like, do the whole experience.
Yeah.
Any negatives? No, any negatives that we had was like personal choices that we made
Mm.
Mm. Did you get
on the
seasick at
cruise,
all or
but
no?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question. Did you get seasick? Did it
I
rock
did
at all?
not. You definitely have sea legs when you get off
Mhm.
the ship and you're
Mhm.
walking
Oh,
around the town. Like
okay.
you kind of feel like you're doing this a little bit.
Mhm.
Amy has kind of felt a little weird. I think now she feels okay, but for like
Okay.
the first 2 days we came back, she was feeling a little like
Yeah.
wobbly, a little
Like
uneasy.
the whole
But
My
house was just
gosh.
kinda going back and forth?
yeah, but they
Yeah.
do have things that you can wear. They have like these patches you can put,
Mhm.
and she said it really helped her on the ship. But yeah, like I
Oh,
didn't feel anything from it, thankfully. But
Mm, okay.
because it's so big, it only rocked the most in the back because it's being
Oh,
pulled forward,
interesting.
Ah.
so
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
back is like taking all the
Mhm.
most of like the
Oh.
hits. So,
Mhm.
but that was only when we were going slower. When we were going fast,
Yeah.
like when we were going up the coast of Canada into Alaska,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you didn't really feel too much. So,
Okay.
Mm.
Cool.
All
Well,
right.
that's my only
Well,
worry is just getting seasick. So that's it.
we've
I'll
yeah,
go.
got
I'll go.
we've got 13 minutes before we're going to try to wrap out tonight
Yeah.
because we have a hard out here. But let me get through some super chats and some
Mm-hmm.
questions here. First one up is Speak123 with 10 pounds from across the pond. Almost 1:30 a.m. in London, drinking kombucha in a wine glass like the heathen I am, watching the greatest trio since Storm, Jean, and Rogue. Love your discourse on X-Men. Unites us all in its humanity. Thank you so
Oh,
much,
very
thank
kind.
Speak123.
Do you guys know
Very
Speak? Do you
kind,
guys interact
very
with Speak
British.
on previous Twitter? Do you guys recognize the
Did you just
guy?
call it
He's
previous Twitter?
previous Twitter,
Previous
yeah.
Twitter.
Previously on
Previously
Twitter.
known as
Previously on
previously
Twitter.
on Twitter.
Speak's been following us for a long time. He's
That's great.
actually been a huge member of the community, and he's backed us up in a lot of stuff, a lot of arguments
Awesome. Thank
that
you,
have
Speak.
gone on.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
I've interacted with him a lot on Twitter, and he's
It's
a
good to have
very cool
allies
dude.
all over the world.
We have
That's
allies.
That's
awesome.
right.
He's incredibly intelligent. Some of his arguments just like nobody could
Someday,
talk after his comments. But yeah, Speak's a cool
someday
dude.
Yeah.
the three of us will make it out there and we'll get a nice pub and hang out with
Mhm.
Speak
Yeah,
123.
for sure,
Love
definitely.
to hit
So
it.
we'll
Let's
Oh,
see
just take
him.
a
We'll see him when we get out
cruise. Let's
a dream.
there.
Dakota Jones. Dakota Jones in the super chat, 4.99, asks X-Men versus Avengers two-part episode or Avengers help the X-Men take down Onslaught. Magneto protocols
Mm,
could have caused tension between the two teams. I would say I
Mhm,
think you might be onto something with the
mhm,
second thing, with
mhm.
the Avengers just being present as they take down a
yeah.
bigger Marvel
Yeah,
Universe threat. Because I don't think we're going to get Avengers versus X-Men. I
no.
don't think that's going to happen in the show, but
No.
yeah, how great were those cameos though, dude? Doctor
Oh my
Strange,
So good.
Daredevil,
god.
like
So good.
I mean,
So,
so
so, so
let's
good.
be
good.
Little
real.
Iron
Like
Man.
you're not putting those cameos in there for no reason.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I
yeah,
know.
for sure.
You
There's
I
know.
gonna
know.
be there's gonna
So
be a big Avengers Assemble moment, a big X-Men to me, my X-Men moment.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
that'd be
think it's gonna be
amazing.
really cool. I'm not sure we're ready for
Oh,
what we're
hang
in
on.
for.
Hang on.
What?
Parks View said, as a fellow Englishman, the accent hurts. All right, Parks View. I think I did pretty good.
Yeah, I think
Wow.
your
And
accent's
Mike
good.
Rios,
I think
Mike
your
Rios
accent's
says,
good.
cheerio, Gway. Cheerio.
Cheerio,
Gway.
Gway. Cheerio. That's
Cheerio,
my cousin. In
Gway.
case you guys don't know, no, he's not my cousin. He's
Oh,
another.
well,
Just happens to be
maybe.
a Rios in the chat.
Maybe we're
That's
all
What's up,
related.
funny.
I don't
Mike?
know. Man. All right.
Quick question, Adam.
Yeah.
So can we talk spoilers? Are you not on NDA anymore? Can we talk not
We've
spoilers? Furiosa review.
Oh, I don't know.
You've
That's
seen
up to you
Oh
it.
guys.
yeah. The like. Well, when is it out? Is it out this Friday?
It's out tomorrow. I think it's out tonight
Yeah.
at midnight.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I would say not talk spoilers, but we're
Yeah.
free. We're like able to talk about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so give us your quick, because we don't have a lot of time. Give us your quick review, because I
Yeah.
have a feeling we might agree, but we haven't
Yeah.
talked about this at all. What do
Ooh.
you think?
Well, to answer the question of which is better, and I know comparison is hard,
Mhm.
I do think
Yeah.
Mad Max Fury Road is better. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of it is because that movie, it is the engine that keeps going. Like you hit the
Mhm.
gas and the movie never stops for
High
2
octane.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of the marketing is like
Yeah.
high
Mhm.
octane like energy all the way through.
Mhm.
And I think that's the thing that surprisingly I was missing from Furiosa.
Mhm.
I really feel like the first third of that movie took a long time to get through, and I
Mm.
had no problem. I mean, everybody knows it's a backstory, so we find out
Yeah.
how Furiosa becomes Furiosa. But I was really surprised, like how much time we spend doing that,
Mhm. Mhm.
and I was also just so surprised at how they're truthfully like there is not much dialogue in the movie, which is
Yeah.
fine. I don't
Yeah.
think that's like I don't personally think it's necessarily like a negative towards the film, but I think like when Fury Road had dialogue, Furiosa was such a big part of those dialogue moments,
Mhm.
and she was kind of
Mhm.
a big part of the emotional impact that the dialogue sometimes would have. that when she just not having her say much, I was kind of like, oh, this is an interesting choice. That this is kind of a quiet movie that's mostly run by sound effects and action and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
I was a little also surprised that some of the visual effects were not as good as I thought they were going to be.
Mm.
Okay.
There's one shot at
Mhm.
the very beginning of the movie that I was like, "Oh, that's weird." I'm kind of surprised they left that in there. But
Mhm.
then there's like more visual effects stuff throughout. There is like there's definitely stuff that I'm like, "This is awesome. It all looks great. It's super clean."
Mhm.
But there are those few moments where I'm like, "Okay, this looks a little," but then I had to remember that like the sandstorm sequence in Fury Road is also very exaggerated and
Yeah.
very CG.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
have to keep those things in consideration. I also had a
Mm.
really tough time with the like I think what they did is they shot at a lower frame rate and then converted it to 24 frames. Like they may have
I
shot at
see.
like 20 frames or something like that, 18 to 20 frames. It
It's
was just a little
interesting.
too choppy for me.
It's interesting
It's
and
with the
interesting you're
ironic.
camera.
saying that.
Yeah,
Dude, your frame rate
yeah,
is crazy. You look like Max
yeah,
Headroom right now. It's
yeah, yeah. Stop it. Oh
You're
my gosh.
absolutely the moment you
He's
started
great.
talking about VFX, you're just like
Yep.
Yeah, it's great. That's Bastion in the
That's
chat
so
right now
funny.
trying to
Bastion's in
sabotage
the
us
chat,
again.
yeah. But yeah,
It's very
I think
funny.
Yeah.
I think that's all very valid, Adam. Thumbs up or thumbs down on the movie? Thumbs up, would you recommend people go watch it? Thumbs down, say
I
skip
would.
this one?
I would.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
I would say definitely watch it because I want to like I want to know what other people because everyone
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
literally opened Twitter and I typed in Furiosa and
Yeah.
everything was like, it's amazing, it's remarkable, it's mesmerizing,
Yeah.
it's this,
Yeah.
it's this. I was like,
Mhm.
am I crazy? Did I
Yeah.
miss something? So
Yeah.
Mm.
yeah, I definitely think
Yeah.
people should go see it.
Augustine, where
I
you at?
think yeah, so I'm on the same boat as Adam. I didn't know that this movie was not going to be the high octane punch in the nuts that Fury Road was. Like right
Sure,
off the bat, you
sure.
feel like you're just going and it doesn't stop, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then when I kind of curved that expectation while I was watching the movie, you're right, Adam. The first third of the movie, I was just like, let's move it, like let's move this
Mhm.
story along.
Yeah.
But I do think that they were very successful in making me believe that this non-Charlize Theron person was Charlize Theron, right? Like
Mm.
Yeah.
this makes complete
Cool.
sense on how the
Mhm.
actress, what's her name,
Anya
Taylor Joy,
Taylor-Joy, even
Anya
the
Taylor Joy.
Anya.
voice.
Yeah,
Anya.
Anya
Even the
Ooh,
Taylor
okay,
Joy.
voice,
cool.
like she started talking and I was like, is that
Yeah.
Charlize Theron?
It was great. It was absolutely great.
Wow.
I think the performances were great. Chris Hemsworth was
Hemsworth
just
is
off the
awesome.
walls, just crazy dude, right? And I think he does an amazing job in this movie. I did like the cars and the design, but I would not go in expecting the high octane. I wish somebody would have told me that at the beginning.
Right.
It's not the high
Okay.
octane kick in the
Okay.
ass that Fury Road
Right.
was, which is not a bad thing because Fury Road kind of
No.
stands on its own as like different from every other project that's been in the franchise so far, right? If
Mhm.
somebody would
Mhm.
have showed me an original like a Mad Max movie and then Fury Road and said that these are
Yeah.
connected, but I didn't know like the names or anything, I would have said these movies are
Right.
not in the same universe because they're completely
Yeah.
different movies. I feel
Mad
like
Max, the first
Furiosa,
one is a little bit of a slow burn.
it's a very slow burn. I could
Oh,
barely
yeah,
watch
the
it.
original?
I
Yeah.
would almost call it a bad
Yeah.
movie, honestly, because
Yeah,
it's
it's
such
a
a slow
very
burn.
it's a
Yeah.
very rough around the edges. Yeah, people are now maybe because people are, like, rewatching the original movies because this
Yeah.
new one's coming out,
Oh,
but
yeah.
people are like, it's such a jump from the original Mad Max to the Road Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Fury
insane.
Road and
Yeah.
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 It's like now it's post-apocalyptic. In the first movie, it's
Right.
just like, here's a
Right.
biker gang. Like, that's what
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
movie is.
Yeah.
So because it was just like a zero budget, independent movie shot in Australia.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
so anyway,
I will say go and watch it. I had a very unique
okay.
experience in that I saw it with the Pasadena Motorcycle Club. They invited me to go out and watch it with
Cool.
them. And
Oh, that's
so it was and
awesome.
That
the
is
movie is
awesome.
very bike heavy too.
It
It's all
is.
motorcycles basically at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So it was cool to watch it with a group of like an actual biker club who's been around for like 100
Mhm,
years. So it was
mhm.
pretty dope. But I think that's what I would
Yeah.
say. Overall, though, I think I ended up loving the movie at the end because it was
Mhm.
very smart the way they kind of wrapped everything up. I feel like they did justice to
Very
the
clean.
character of Furiosa. I feel
Cool.
like all the
Cool.
intents as to why she looks the way she looks, like all the things that happen to her, it does kick into high gear towards the end. Like you do
Okay.
get those action scenes towards the end. It's just that it's
Mhm.
not the immediate, just like
Sure.
Right.
testosterone filled, crazy, like gnarly car wreck fest at the beginning. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
and,
all I
like,
would say.
a movie that not comparison in terms of story, but in terms of, like, pace, like, Doom Part 2 is also long, and it
Hmm.
is a
Yeah.
little bit of a slow burn. I think the difference
Yeah.
for me was that they were able to intersperse more moments that I was like, "I'm really engaged in this moment."
Oh, for
Hmm.
In
sure.
Yeah.
For
Furiosa,
sure.
Yeah.
I had a few less of those moments where I was like, "I'm kind of in, but I'm kind of
Yeah.
1 foot out." And
Yeah.
then it's like, as the movie progresses, I get
Right.
more and more and more roped in, like you're saying. And then once
Hmm.
we get
Mhm.
to sort of the back half, I'm like, okay, movie's got me. It took a little
Yeah.
bit to get
Yeah.
there,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
I'm in now.
Yeah,
So
and it's really weird because usually it's the later, the part 2 or part 3 of the movies that kind of
it
knock
sometimes
you out
lose
of the
you.
movie. Like they really sometimes
Yeah.
don't know how to close it up. But I feel like this
Mhm.
movie they started off with the idea of the end, obviously because it's the origin story of
Mhm.
Right.
Furiosa. But I would recommend people to go watch it if you loved Mad Max Fury Road.
Totally.
The performances are awesome. The filmmaking, I think they echoed some of the stuff from Fury Road, but also did their own thing.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
more of a OG Mad Max movie rather than a
Oh,
Fury
Mhm.
all
Road
right. Nicely done.
kind of movie.
And look,
So
I
Guys,
just love George Miller.
yeah, I know.
yeah,
Truthfully,
yeah.
like, he's just
That
one of
dude
those
made Happy
filmmakers
Feet.
that even if his
He made
yeah, like,
Happy
even if
Feet.
his movie is bad, I'd still be like, "Yeah, but I still
Yeah.
love George Miller as, like, he just
Yeah.
seems like such a warm person. I'll go
Mhm.
Yeah,
support his
great
movie no matter
director.
what." Like a Guillermo
Mhm.
del Toro type of
Absolutely.
guy.
Yep.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I would rather watch a George Miller movie I don't love than a lot of people's movies. Like,
Anyone
straight up.
specifically, Hector?
Anything specific? No, I don't
Uh,
think we should. I don't, we
eh,
don't. We shouldn't kick that
eh,
bee's nest. Don't kick that bee's nest. No,
hey,
don't do it.
we only have a few
Don't do
minutes.
it.
Guys,
Yeah.
here's a great one. Let's get everybody's this is a super chat from the Cali
Mm-hmm.
Kid.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
99
nice.
is asking, "Do you have any good movie theater going tips?" Sunglasses
Yes.
emoji,
Eat at
ticket
home.
emoji, popcorn emoji. Eat at home?
Eat at
Here's
home.
here's here's my
Uh,
tip. Here's my tip. If you
yeah.
want to and you can afford it, plain M&Ms sprinkled on top of popcorn. That snack is the best movie snack.
Asterisk
Go.
peanut, but I agree with that. Sorry.
I don't
See, I go
I don't fuck
goobers.
with
I go
peanut. That's
goobers.
fine, dude. You do you. You do
I
you.
love the
You do
peanut.
you.
I
You do
don't like
you.
the
You do
normal
you.
ones, but I know
You
you
do
put me
you.
onto
That's
that,
fine.
Hector. You put me onto
Yeah.
that snack, and so
And
I know
sorry.
you
And
did
Adam,
normal
what
M
did
and M's. I do peanut.
Adam, what did you say?
I do goobers or if
Okay.
which is chocolate covered peanuts, but AMC also now has like their own brand too, the like AMC branded chocolate
Mm.
covered
Mm,
Now this
okay.
is
peanuts. So
this is
I'll do
in the
those.
popcorn?
In the
This is what you're
popcorn.
putting?
Mhm. Some
I
in,
Interesting.
love
some
that.
Okay.
just
I yeah. I haven't experimented too much with other because I also love like Raisinets. I don't know if I want the Raisinets in the popcorn. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I don't
Because like
know. I don't
the
mm,
know.
thing about M&Ms, and I'll give you the M&Ms, even peanut M&Ms, I just want that chocolate and the peanut still adds the salty, but the popcorn is the salty with
mhm,
the sweet.
Mm,
It's making my mouth water right now. I'm gonna
good.
go see a movie right now just because I wanna get that snack.
I would
Um,
say my tip is
yeah,
go to the movies Sunday morning. Nobody's
oh,
there.
yeah.
It's the best time. It's the only time
Yes,
I want
yes,
to go
yes,
to a
yes,
movie.
yes,
Is Sunday
yes,
morning by
yes, yes.
myself.
yeah,
Like that's it.
Take me to
yeah.
church. That's when you go.
Hmm.
I wasn't gonna specifically say Sunday, but yeah, like matinees, because this has been such a big conversation online about movie theaters and how they're expensive and
Yeah,
stuff. Which, like, of course,
yeah.
to an extent, they are expensive. But
Hmm.
I think it's really important that you do your research. Like
Yep.
I'm seeing an IMAX 3D showing of Deadpool and Wolverine. I paid
Hmm.
Mhm,
$22 for it.
Hmm.
I'm
mhm,
not paying $75 like a lot of
Yeah.
people might.
mhm,
Yeah.
So do your
mhm.
research. If you feel like you're going to go to the movies quite a bit and you have an AMC or a Regal theater near you, look at their
Hmm.
subscription programs. Like maybe it is worth
There
it
you
to pay
go.
$25 a month to
Hmm.
see 12 movies a month.
Mhm.
One, it might encourage you to go see more films. Two, you might save money instead of buying one $25 IMAX ticket.
Hmm.
You can buy
Yeah.
12 movie tickets to any movie, any format. So that's
Yeah.
all. That's the only thing I
Yeah.
Come
try
on.
to recommend to
Great.
people is like just be
That's great.
smart, you know?
It's a good
That's a
idea.
really great recommendation.
Yeah.
It's the same well, what happened, Adam?
Yo, are you
Something off
beating meat
screen?
out there? What's happening?
Oh my god.
Jesus.
Jesus.
Hello. My goodness gracious. Last
Ooh,
super chat,
yeah, we
squeezing
got
this
time
in
for
here.
one more.
Easy
Go, go,
Rider,
go, go, go.
$5. Easy Rider says, booked my Alaska Dawes Glacier Celebrity Edge cruise, guys, for August. Excited AF. Thanks, Adam. Celebrity Edge is part of Royal Caribbean, my fave cruise line. Look at that.
There
Oh,
you go.
nice.
Did you
Yeah.
convert people
So
to cruisers now, Adam?
I don't know. So you should actually look into Easy Rider. You should look into and see if there's an excursion on your cruise. It might be
Mm-hmm.
the same one as I did, but I know that they have excursions on some of the celebrity cruises that you can take like a smaller boat that will actually take you much closer to the glacier. If you
Mm,
really want to glacier, then I think it'd be worth it.
we
Yeah,
should do
so
that.
that's exciting. I think
Awesome.
you're gonna have a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
I really had a good time. Went to the club, watched some cool shows, danced, had some
Mm-hmm.
drinks. It was a nice break. It was a
Love
very
it.
nice break.
Nice, nice, nice.
Last comment here. Speak123 says, America seems like a different planet when it comes to cinema prices, and I live in London. Well, we'll take you up on that
Well,
pint whenever we get a chance to go to London.
we'll go to the
Thank you
movies with you,
guys.
Speak. Yeah.
We'll go to the movies. Yeah, I'll go to the cinema with you. I'll go see a
Totally.
cinema. You
All
have to
right.
have the R.
Cinema.
No, that's
Cinema.
Australian. What are you talking
No.
about?
As you go into another word. As you go into another word.
Oh, I see. I see.
Like
Okay.
trying to explain. You have to say trying to explain. There's a little R in there. You can't say trying to explain. You have to say trying to explain this. I'm trying to explain this to you. Listen to me.
We've already been kicked out of Italy, so I'm sure we'll be kicked out of the entire United Kingdom at this point.
They're gonna kick us all out of everything,
Dinosaurios.
basically.
All right.
Dinosaurios.
Okay, guys.
All right, let's get out of
Close
here,
us out,
guys. We gotta
Augustine.
go. Thank you all for hanging out with us tonight. As always, it was a blast. Thank you all for watching our other channel, which is always a blast as well. We got a lot more content coming out later this week, and as the stuff goes on, there's lots of stuff we're still watching too. But yeah, it's been great. And we'll see you guys next week if Adam's here. Well, no, we'll do it anyway if Adam's not here.
We'll do it anyway.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a good
Bye.
night. Bye.